everyone, and welcome into Perspectives. It's good to have you with us on this, well, the sun's shining, but it's cold. I mean, it's really cold out there. In fact, we saw a couple of folks from up north going south. It's a bad one in Oklahoma right now. Anyway, we're glad you're here with us. We have Dr. Sonya Munsell with us, who is a Associate Professor at RSU, and Julia Hayes, a student here at the university, talking about National Eating Disorder Awareness Week, which starts when, Doctor?
So National Eating Disorder Awareness Week is also known now as Eating Disorder Awareness Week, and it begins on Monday and goes throughout the week.
Okay, and is there something happening to commemorate that, to point to it?
Yes, so there are events happening around the nation and in small communities throughout the United States. The week is meant to bring awareness to eating disorders within the community and help educate people on what an eating disorder is and ways that they may be able to support someone who is dealing with that illness.
Interesting facts. All right, Julia, I want to talk to you a little bit more because we've got some examples of your work to show. First of all, you're a student here at RSU, are you not?
Yeah, I am. I'm a student here. I'm in my second year of my freshman year. So I haven't been here very long, but I do a lot of artwork to combat, to spread awareness for mental health illnesses, especially for borderline personality disorder, depression, anxiety, even autism, which is something I personally have. And I've struggled with all of these. So putting it in my artwork is something that I try to do to, is almost like therapeutic. And that's something I'm going to school for. I'm in the psychology department at RSU.
Now, when you say you have autism,
yes.
I'm assuming you're on the spectrum?
Yes, I am.
But
I am
probably
on the spectrum.
very low because you don't...
Very high, actually. I'm high-functioning
autistic.
autistic.
I got it wrong? Either way, you don't exhibit many of the symptoms of one with autism.
No, because because with autism, it's on a spectrum. So it can be very low functioning, very high functioning. I'm a high functioning autistic. I don't have a lot of impediments in my life in comparison to other people, but all of that is indeed treatable. I personally believe anybody can get help, and even if it's a challenge, it's still part of you. It's still a thing that you live with and you have to live with your entire life. But I see it as almost like a superpower almost, because you see stuff that other people don't see usually, other people who are neurotypical.
Well, the event itself is through the week of the 24th through the 27th. Am I right on the dates?
Yes, you're correct.
And you have some drawings or paintings or sketches. I'm not quite sure what they are, but let's take a look. Did you do this one?
Yes, I did. That was featured in the RSU Art Gallery for Halloween. I got together with the art club at Rogers State, and I submitted some pieces into their art gallery. It was for all the art students to go into. I think it was called the Dark Arts of August. October. And it was something that I submitted. That piece in particular, I actually made that years ago as a watercolor piece.
I like that.
Oh, thank you. It's a self-portrait, so it's kind of definitely with art therapy, it comes back into how you're feeling at that time. And when I made that piece, I just wasn't feeling very well, and it was just how I coped with different stuff going on in my life at that point. And just, I always put that in my artwork. It's always been a staple either way, whether I'm doing art that's based off of TV shows, or I'm just doing my own original artwork. Obviously everything I submitted here was my own original artwork. So,
I understand.
Yeah.
Doctor, help me because I'm on the outside looking in.
Sure,
How does one How does one know how many different types of eating disorders are out there?
Well, there are actually several that are recognized by the DSM-5. Anorexia, bulimia, and binge eating disorder are all recognized disorders. And in addition, there is an otherwise not specified feeding and eating disorder. And I wanted to let everyone know that every 52 minutes, someone dies from an eating disorder.
Really?
Yes, so it's a very serious condition and one that needs a lot of attention. It's second only to opioid misuse as the cause of death.
You are kidding.
I'm not kidding, no. A lot of times we talk about an eating disorder as something that grows in silence, grows in isolation. And for many, an eating disorder is a maladaptive way of coping with life stressors, of coping with change. And I think it's important to recognize the power of work like Julia's, the art therapy, movement therapy, to help offer people with eating disorders an adaptive way of coping. Because with the treatment of the eating disorder, not only do you want to do things such as in the case of anorexia, you want to stabilize weight, but you also want to make sure that once weight is stabilized, people are healthy moving through life. And so to do that, they need a toolbox of these healthy coping mechanisms. And art therapy is one that is often recommended and used with people with eating disorders.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Before I let you out of here, there are going to be folks that we're going to hear from that they're going to say, I'd like to have a copy of the piece that you just had on camera. Are those available for sale?
Currently, they're not for sale at the moment, but I will
5.
I will set up something eventually.
That sounds good. Thank you. Thank you both
Thank
for coming
you.
in and being with us. Coming up, we got Terry Bauer's interview with the Cherokee Film Institute. That's next on Perspective.
Welcome back. We're very fortunate to have Jennifer Loren and Brettlyn Bevenue with the Cherokee Film Institute on the show today to talk about what's going on with that great new program. So let's start with Brettlyn to just talk about what is the Cherokee Film Institute?
Absolutely. The Cherokee Film Institute is the workforce development and training portion of the Cherokee Film ecosystem. So we exist to get folks who are interested in learning about the film and television industry, the correct training for their first job.
And you use the word ecosystem. There are some layers to Cherokee Film. Jennifer, why don't you talk about how that all fits together?
Yeah, sure. So Cherokee Film is an ecosystem, a film and media ecosystem. And so we have several branches underneath the ecosystem, and they all work symbiotically. They all work together, but also separately. And they all have their own mission, but they play off of one another. And the whole point of this ecosystem is to increase Native American representation, Cherokee representation in film and media. So we have 4 branches that fall underneath the ecosystem. The first one is Cherokee Film Production. So you've probably seen our program here on RSU TV, the OCO Voices of the Cherokee People. So that is an example of a production that we create under Cherokee Film Productions that tells the Cherokee story. We have many others, animations and talk shows and things like that as well. Then the second branch is Cherokee Film Studios, and that is our sound stages in Owasso where we film a lot of these projects, and other people come in and rent our studios to film. And the idea is that we're helping to boost the film industry, specifically within Oklahoma, this region, and also Native American film and media projects through the use of that infrastructure. And then the third branch is the Cherokee Film Commission. So a film commission they exist in many different states and regions. Like the Oklahoma state has a film commission, and the job of a film commission is to recruit film and television projects to the region for the economic development. And so our film commission, Cherokee Film Commission, does that, but we also have a mission to increase representation. So we have a lot of initiatives that are focused on not only bringing projects into the Cherokee Nation, but telling Native American stories through different programs. And then the fourth and final branch of our ecosystem is Cherokee Film Institute, which we just launched in January. It's very exciting.
And so there's a big economic impact with everything you just described, because the film industry is very important to Oklahoma, not just for Native Americans, for the whole state. It's a benefit to the whole state. And so it makes sense to train the next generation in this industry. So what happens with a young person who comes into this program?
So the Cherokee Film Institute has a program that is 120 contact hours. So you will take Intro to Industry, and it is a 40-hour course. It's a classroom setting, but you also get hands-on training with equipment that you can find in a studio like the Cherokee Film Studios or the one that you have here. But what sets our program apart from others that are already going on in this state is we focus a lot on Native representation in the film industry, or lack thereof. We talk about the nuances of being a Native American citizen in an industry that has historically not really acknowledged or told authentic stories about your culture. We also talk about protocols for filming with Native American tribes or on tribal land. And we really want to set people up for success for the first PA job that you get on set. So we also have, after that first Intro to Industry course, we have other department-focused courses, an intro to camera, an intro to production office, location scouting. We want to make sure that the jobs that we're seeing open here in Oklahoma are being filled by folks who come through CFI.
Well, this is a new program you just launched last month.
Yes.
And so we don't know if any of these people have jobs yet. What is the goal? What are you hoping will happen? Either one of you.
I think the ultimate goal is to just have more people trained and ready to come into the industry when we have more productions coming to Oklahoma as a whole, but specifically for Cherokee Nation as well.
So what have you seen happen with your work in this industry when we've had film crews come here? They bring in outside people. Would the ultimate goal be they don't need to bring in?
Correct.
We supply?
That is absolutely correct. So a lot of times when, as a film commission, either Cherokee Film Commission or the state, Tulsa has a film commission, when we get that phone call from a producer who's saying, hey, I'm looking at places to bring my $10 million film project. I heard about your rebate program. I'd like to know more. One of the first questions they ask is, what is your crew depth? Crew depth is essentially how many crews do you have that could be working at one time on movies in the state. So let's say you had 4 movies going on in the state of Oklahoma at one time, which is a regular occurrence these days. Do you have a crew for each one of those movies, or do we need to bring people in? What is your crew depth? And so Oklahoma has always had a great, film industry. Our crew are some of the most amazing, hardworking crew in the United States, in the world. But they've been kind of small but mighty. And so we're trying to grow that crew base so that we can start expanding in the size of productions that are able to function and have successful productions here in Oklahoma with our local crew. Right now, there's a mix. When you have some of the smaller independent films, which we have a lot of in the Cherokee Nation, you can do all of your crew can be local. And with programs like CFI, we're just adding to the options for those smaller independent films. But when you have those big films like Twisters that was recently filmed in Oklahoma, they had to bring in some additional crew from out of state. And yes, the goal is that they would be able to land here or have a local producer be able to just have a movie going at the same time as one of those, and it's all local crew.
I can imagine that if a producer is looking at Oklahoma and another state, and in Oklahoma, they don't have to have the added expense of bringing in extra crew because they're already here, whereas the other state, they may have to bring in extra people. We win.
Yes.
So that seems like a win-win for everyone.
It really is. And the economics of bringing a film to a region, there's a study that just came out about, what the economics look like in Oklahoma since we've had our rebate program. And they really are, it helps for some people to think, we spend a lot of effort in communities to bring conferences, to your area, because they stay in your hotels and they eat at your restaurants and they do. And a film is very much the same way, except they're not staying for 2 days. They're staying for 6 weeks. When it came to like Killers of the Flower Moon, they were here for 6 months. And they're staying in your hotels and eating at your restaurants and using your lumber providers, your hardware stores, your caterers, your hair and makeup people. There's just antique stores. So the ripple effects of having a film in this area are really great. And in Cherokee Nation, our leadership really sees the value in storytelling because we're Native American and we have an oral history. And so they see the value in storytelling and it's a win-win because we can provide jobs for Native Americans. They can stay home. They don't have to go outside of the state, and we can tell stories and tell Native stories, tell Oklahoma stories. So it's really great to be able to have this workforce development program to try and keep people in the state.
I would imagine people were pounding at the door ready to get in when you said we're launching this. Do you have a waiting list, or what comes next?
Well, we had about 160 applications.
Just a few.
Just a few.
Yeah.
So there is a wait list currently. So currently we have just under 50 folks enrolled that are taking these courses. We've had 2 intro to industry classes come through, and we launched our production office class this weekend on Saturday. So we have plans to grow and to continue developing more curriculum, but we're slow and steady. We want to make sure that we're not oversaturating the market and churning out more PAs than we have jobs for, of course. So we plan to grow as we need to.
Well, this is all very exciting, and I drive by it often between here and Tulsa, and I've always wanted to go tour. So when do I get to tour?
You just give us a call.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm calling you next week. And thank you both for being here and talking about this exciting development, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Terry.
And we'll be back with more right after this.
Matt Carney is editor-in-chief of The Pickup. That's a new publication from This Land Press. Good to have you, my friend.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Sam.
I was a fan of well, it's gone now, but I was a fan of This Land Press for a while it was with us.
Yep.
In fact, we had some folks from This Land on the show.
Oh, did you?
To talk about it, yeah. That's been a while back. Well, let's get on to this now. We're talking about a digital exercise, aren't we?
Yes, that's right. So there's the Pickup is live at thepickup.com. We're a fully digital, independently owned journalism website covering Tulsa with a real focus on food, arts and culture, music, and also some deep dives into Tulsa lore from time to time.
With just an edge of going boom in the ribs now and then, aren't you?
We like to think so, yeah.
I think that's a nice approach. Who all is on board with you?
So I have 2 full-time colleagues, Alicia Chesser, who's a longtime local arts writer and arts critic, and Zach Reeves, who also used to contribute to the Tulsa Voice. Alicia, Zach, and I we wrote for The Voice for the Alt Weekly publication in Tulsa, which folded in 2019. And then we have backing from Vince Lavoie and This Land Press, which published a fantastic print publication from 2010 until the end of 2016.
How does it work? Does one pay a fee to get in, and I guess it's a subscription?
Yeah, it's a subscription-driven website, but it's a freemium product, meaning that the website is open and available to anybody to come in and read a few articles, and then you encounter a soft paywall that prompts you to give us your email address, and we'll let you read a couple of more articles.
I've known a few journalists in my time. Most of them were crusty old birds.
Known a few of those too.
And, the cigar chomping type who had, a keen wit, but kind of a jaded outlook on life.
Sure.
And I sometimes wonder if maybe the Spencer Tracys of this world would not have made good journalism writers in Oklahoma. Whose idea was this?
Well, this was mine. I got connected with Vince Lavoie, who was the publisher of This Land Press, almost a year ago about this time, and I worked with him and his team on a basically building a business plan out of this idea that I had, and we worked together on it. And about 3 weeks ago, we launched it out into the world, and we've already had about 500 people create accounts on our website.
Really?
And about half of them are paying subscribers. So we are seeing some early and interesting returns on it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a marvelous idea, in all honesty. I'm assuming, and we all know what assuming is, all I know, but I'm assuming that one can take out a subscription, pick it up on their home computer. Can they also get it on their mobile device?
Yep. Desktop, mobile, the site works really well either way. As far as I know, we're the only subscription-driven, fully online news publication in Northeast Oklahoma. And we're trying it out on a new model. Historically, newspapers, which I worked for one. I worked for the Oklahoman from 2013 to 2016, and historically, the majority of the revenues come from advertising, and then a minority come from subscriptions. And we're basically trying to flip that model. We're a subscription business first, and then an advertising business second.
Well, I'm going to be real honest with you. Back in the day, when I was a puppy, I had a chance to go to. I lived in Fort Smith, Arkansas. That was my hometown. And I had a chance to go to the Southwest Times Record and watch them hit the button to start the presses.
Yeah.
That was the most dramatic thing I've ever seen in my life. You hit it, the bell rings, and boy, they start rolling.
So much, it's very noisy.
But it's incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
Because the news of the day and the editorials of tomorrow are being printed as you're standing there watching it. Yeah. And I'm thinking, wow, gee whiz. Well, it's a great idea. Where are you headed next? What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, great question. We're sort of settling into our editorial rhythm. Publishing fresh stories on a daily basis for our readers, but we're also getting to know our subscribers. We sort of push this, we push the pickup out into the world, not totally knowing who was going to take us up on a subscription, and so we want to get to know them. We want to have some events and we want to send them some surveys. We have an idea of what they want and what they're looking for to make sense of day-to-day life in Tulsa, but yeah, we want to spend some time getting to know them exactly for who they are, so that we can publish stuff that both helps them with their day-to-day in Tulsa, but also informs a lot of the history and the context and what it means to live in Tulsa.
I got to tell you, there's so much history in this state. And I've said this before, it's one of the few states I know of where you can drive down a highway, you can see smoke coming out of the woods, and it can either be a farmer clearing brush or an Indian ceremony that goes back to before statehood. And the same holds true for every town and village in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It really does. I want to thank you for taking time to come in, and look for me to become one of your subscribers.
Oh, great. Thank you, Sam.
Because I'm really fascinated by what you're trying to do and what you will pull off. I really think you're going to make it, man. I think it's going to be the whole thing's going to be a home run.
Fingers crossed.
So good luck to you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, Sam.
And watch your spelling, because I will. We're all out of time. Thank you for being a part of it, and we'll see you back here next time.